we landed on a format that I think didn't really exist yet. It's a bit different from what most other retreat leaders or event leaders are doing. We like to call it a buffet of activities.
I do like the term buffet.
Yeah. Or smorgasbord, I guess, if we want to go a bit fancy. We organize skill shares, masterminds, and conferences. We've had some couples that have formed at the Wonderlands. We've had a couple of relationships that have started that are still ongoing because we have a whole month to explore a destination, to connect, to build like deeper connections. Yeah. You can take it a bit easier and F the small talk.
We have Camille, the founder of Nomads in Wonderlands here. And why don't we start off just kind of talking about your origin story as a digital nomad and where this all came from.
Hi, Jim. How many hours do we have ahead of us? No, because it's quite a long story. I've been a digital nomad more or less, let's say, for 13 years, I would say now. Although now my status as a nomad or not is debatable because I do have a home base nowadays. But to backtrack a little bit, so I actually left France already, my home country. I think that's obvious. When I was 18, I went to study in the UK and I started working there. And yeah, I had a good job. I was living in a very nice apartment, great friends. I had a nice boyfriend. Basically, my life was on paper looking really good, but something inside was not feeling right after a while, and something was missing. So I basically gave it all up to go travel around the world. So I started with a solo trip around the world.
Where was your first destination?
I started actually in Argentina because, traveling all of South America because that was my big dream. I was really fascinated with South America.
So you speak Spanish too?
I do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what I did. I went for just under 1 year. And at the end of it, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. But one thing I knew is that I didn't want to go back to my previous life. And I wanted to basically keep traveling and keep kind of finding a way to continue this slightly different lifestyle. So I went to live in Korea for a little while, in South Korea. A bit of a random choice, but I stayed there for about 9 months. I picked up some jobs there. And I was very lucky that at some point I got itchy feet again and I decided to go travel. But my employer in Korea actually let me take my job on the road.
Wow.
So that's how I started as a proper digital nomad, I guess, working while traveling. And then, I did that for a few years. And about 9 years ago, I met my boyfriend, who you know,
yes, that's right. Where did you meet him?
We met in Laos, so not too far from here.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, across the border. And then we actually started dating in Chiang Mai. So
it's very cute.
Special place for us. And then, we kept traveling without a home base for a while. And until at some point we felt like it would be nice to have a bit more of a hub to go back to a base. So we bought a place in Bansko in Bulgaria, which I know you know.
Yep, very well.
And and so that's why I'm saying nowadays, am I really a digital nomad? I consider myself so because
I agree.
Yeah, we still travel a lot and I still have the mindset of a nomad. I feel very location independent. I can decide to go travel at any point, even when I'm home. If I have a sudden desire, I can just, go on the road.
I think it's pretty common for nomads to, once you get through the beginner phase of going everywhere, you want to slow down a little bit. And, you might want to also kind of look for some, sense of community as well, right? You kind of miss that in the beginning.
Yeah, that was one of the big reasons for sure. And even, at some point we were tired of like storing things randomly at our parents when we were stopping over or, just leaving them a bit around the world. So it's nice to have even like a storage space in a way. So it's kind of like a glorified storage space. But I mean, we have a really nice home now in Bansko,
So cool. I know a lot of Wonderlanders have been to Bansko. We can talk about that. Well, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the inspiration or like the aha moment when you're like, ooh, I've heard you mention this before, but like what was kind of the moment where you were like, you kind of had a moment and you wanted to kind of share that with other nomads around the world. And that was kind of the birth of Nomads in Wonderlands.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's been a bit of a long birth, I guess, a bit drawn out.
It's a long labor period.
It's actually an idea that I started having when it wasn't so popular. So before COVID, I had already been traveling for a few years, and I started feeling that. Yeah, for several reasons. One is that, I had a lot of experience now as a nomad, and I started wanting to kind of give back, in a sense, by organizing events to pass on, my experience, my knowledge of certain destinations to other younger or more recent nomad remote workers.
Share the wealth.
Yeah, and then... Yes, so I already had this idea, and I'm a good organizer as well. I always knew I have strong organizational skills, so I thought I would do well, organizing events. I'm also really a people's person, and more so, I think, as I get older. And I really like connecting people, especially. I like to get to know people, but I'm kind of like the person in the room who, I'll go to a party and I'll meet people. And they tell me things, and I immediately make connections. So, someone tells me, I'm looking for a job. And then an hour later, I talk to someone who's like, I'm looking for a developer. And I'm like, you need to talk to this guy. He just told me he needs a job. So
that's very true. You have natural host energy.
Yeah, so
yes, this is your calling,
and, my events are kind of like a vehicle in a way for connecting people. So that's kind of the actual deep why behind the events. But I had this idea before the pandemic, and unfortunately, so I was looking into setting something up at that time, and unfortunately, travel kind of paused for a few years.
It got weird.
So I put things on hold, and then the nomad scene kind of changed during that time. I mean, in a good things and bad things, but a lot more people became location independent or started working from home, and so when the world reopened. Actually, a lot of people started organizing retreats, workations, conferences for nomads. And I felt like I had missed my chance because I felt the market was kind of saturated at that point.
Yeah.
And it was too late. And I kind of talked myself out of doing it. And then I had this aha moment, actually, very funnily, in a sauna in Romania during another nomad event. We had a mastermind that went on. Basically, we continued it in the sauna in a very informal way. And then something clicked, and I just thought, why am I, limiting myself and talking myself out of doing something that I know I really want to do, that I know I will be good at, and that I think there is a need for, because what I want to do is a bit different from what's already out there. So, yeah.
It's been really cool to watch Nomads and Wonderlands grow, because when you first mentioned it to me, I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, sure, whatever. Like, maybe I'll check it out. And it really has grown into an organization. It's grown into a family, into a brand. And
it's going faster than I expected. And in a way, it's kind of like growing, faster than I can keep up.
It's happening.
This... Yeah, definitely a lot bigger than I thought. It's only been under a year since we launched our first event, actually.
That is crazy.
And we're currently running our fifth event, which if you had asked me a year ago, what it would look like, I would have absolutely not imagined we would be running our fifth event right now.
So crazy.
With so many people as well. We have over 30 people right now here. We had 40 in some destinations. So this is... It has surprised me.
It's a nice surprise.
Yeah.
You mentioned all these other nomad retreats and nomad events, which is true. That's a growing trend.
Yeah.
And we're about to get the Chiang Mai Neiman area airplane going overhead. So there's a lot of these digital nomad retreats going on.
Yeah.
What makes Nomads and Wonderlands different?
Yeah, good question. There's several things. The first is that we landed on a format that I think didn't really exist yet. It's a bit different from what most other retreat leaders or event leaders are doing. So in a sense, we're not a conference. We're also not a co-living per se. What we offer are workations, and One thing that our participants really appreciate, and they keep telling me, I had someone tell me again a few days ago that she doesn't normally join these kind of events because she's very independent and she doesn't necessarily feel like she needs to have, she doesn't necessarily want to live in a co-living, sharing. And there are some people who like that, but not everyone. So the way that we organize our events is that we don't necessarily have shared accommodation. So we are bringing people to a destination, and we have a hub at that destination, which usually revolves around the co-working space. So we partner with the co-working space at the destination, and the co-working space doubles usually as an event space. So we find a partner where we can not only work in really good conditions and be productive, because that's kind of the number one concern, of course. And, people who are joining, most people at least are not on holiday, they're on workation, so they need to work. So we need to provide good work conditions. But yeah, usually we choose a place that also has spaces for different activities that we like to run on site. And that serves as our hub for the month. But then people can have the freedom to choose their own accommodation. So we are not prescriptive. What we do offer is that for people who do want to, for example, live in a bit more of a co-living situation or prefer for us to help them find accommodation, we have deals with local partners usually. And then we can help people who want it to find or to book that partner accommodation. Yeah. But then everyone else is free to absolutely find their own apartment, their own co-living, their own whatever they prefer.
It's nice because people can you can accommodate any budget. If you want to go for a really nice place,
yeah,
if you want to,
exactly.
if you are on a bit of a budget, that's really nice.
This is what we found. Like people have different preferences, people have different budgets. They might be at different stages of their journey, so they have different needs, and that's also what makes it possible for us to have bigger groups. Because if we are just having one co-living house, for example, we might be limited by the number of rooms. But our events, that's another way that we are different, because what we have typically now in the Nomad world is conferences, which are more serious, official, but that are big events that bring maybe 200 plus, 100, 200 people. And then you have the co-livings or the retreats, which are typically smaller, I would say like 10, 20 people. But our events are kind of in between. Currently 30, 40, 45, maybe up to 50 participants, which we find is a really nice group size.
It is a nice group size.
Because what it allows is that it's not so big that you can't meet everyone. If you join some bigger Nomad Fest or some other events, there can be hundreds of participants, and then at the end you realize you haven't met everyone. So with 30, 40 people you still get to interact with everyone. But also because we offer a buffet of activities, and it's all very optional, very flexible, so everyone can customize their experience according to their schedule, their work, but also their preferences. We offer a big range of activities for all types of interests. So with 30 or 40 people in the group, there's always going to be enough people that are interested in everything we offer.
I think it feels like a big family.
Exactly.
Kind of. It's like a big family reunion size.
Very good description. That's the feeling we want to cultivate. Yeah. So this is but the flexibility is also one thing that I think makes us different. So in terms of accommodation, like I said, but also in terms of the activities, the range of activities that we suggest, and the fact that everything is very optional, and we build the program in a way that everyone can take it at their own pace. And the other thing is that conferences are usually short, it's just a few days. And then you have the co-livings, the retreats, they're usually also a bit shorter, but our programs now are usually 1 month, which for me we've found is a really, really good duration, because you can take it at a more relaxed pace.
That's a really good point, because, for instance, if you go to a conference like Nomad Fest or something, there's sort of this, emptiness that happens when the week is over. A lot of people
Yeah.
leave town.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, like those connections just aren't there. You need to get to go deeper, with those people.
It's it's a few things. It's what you just said. Also, I think you get a lot of very strong FOMO in those events where it's just a few days and you feel like you have to make the most of it, so you have to attend everything. And in our events, because we have a whole month to explore a destination, to connect, to build like deeper connections, you can take it a bit easier. And we have a lot of kind of activities that repeat week after week. So if you miss it one week, it's okay. You can do it next week.
I can't tell you how important that is for me, because just every once in a while I'm like, I'm not talking to anybody today.
I know.
just need me. Yeah.
Sometimes you disappear.
Sometimes I need a me day, to just...
And that's perfectly fine.
Disappear.
And we encourage that, It's, I think, and it's what our participants appreciate. We never force them to join things. I mean, we do encourage people to participate because we don't want anyone to feel left out or anything, but we never pressure people like, oh, you have to drop whatever you're doing and join us now. Exactly. And for me, that's one thing that in some events I've attended, I don't feel so comfortable if I'm being pressured and to attend everything, or there's like a very strict schedule, and over a few days I have to give up everything else I'm doing. And
you can't help it. You might feel a little bit of FOMO. There's no avoiding that sometimes.
Of course,
but,
I mean, all the activities we offer are so great that you'll want to do everything,
exactly.
but
I mean, that is
you
true.
have to accept. In life, you have to choose. So.
Speaking of which, how are the events organized? Do you guys, organize everything yourself, or are members?
Yeah. So
involved?
the way we see it is that we provide the structure. So we have a core program, as we call it, and we organize most of the activities because that's one thing that some of our participants really value. We do have people joining us who are, they're full-time remote workers, for example. So they need to work a lot during the week, and they don't have time. If they're in one of those productive phases where they have to work a lot, they don't necessarily have time to do a lot of research and plan their own trips, their own activities, attend all these meetups everywhere around town to find community, to find people. So that's what we really offer. So I know that there are some events where it's mostly about bringing people to the destination and providing accommodation usually. But then once they're there, there's nothing organized for them. So it's kind of up to them to self-organize. And I think what we offer is different because we do have a framework of activities. Typically, we do the bigger excursions, day trips.
That's usually like on a Saturday.
Yeah,
or
the adventurous stuff at the weekend when people have more time. Yeah. Also to help disconnect a bit, because I feel like when you spend a day in nature at the weekend, it really bonds people, but also you forget a bit about work.
Get away from the laptop and everything like that.
And then during the week, we usually have these more like ritualized, repeated activities. And usually we have some shared meals as well. That's a really important time for us to eat together. And I'm a big foodie, so there's always a big food component in the
Very
programs.
As a brunch, weekly, very important. I think another point, to your point, is that it's a really good place for someone to step up and start their own little events. And
so that's the second part that I was going to bring up. So we do schedule a lot of activities. We like to call it a buffet of activities.
I do like the term buffet.
Yeah. Or smorgasbord, I guess, if we want to go a bit fancy. But that said, and we have an app, the app. We try to be well organized with our app where you can see all the activities for most of the months and you can go and RSVP, and that helps us, organize all the planning that goes into each activity. But having said that, we do leave room for improvisation, for spontaneous suggestions. And we see it as a co-created event, not just kind of top-down you do what Alex and Camille tell you to
Right.
do, and there's no room for anything else.
That could be rough.
Yeah, so in the same way that we want people to be free to participate in anything they want, to choose their own accommodation and have flexibility, we also want to encourage people to contribute in the way that they want. And it could be, for example, we organize skill shares, masterminds, and conferences, all events where anyone can decide to bring up a topic and, you know, do a presentation if they want to, or start a conversation.
Yeah, it's really cool because it does give you a chance to step up and like give the presentation that you always wanted to do, or do very low stakes, supportive, you know, give a talk or whatever. Like I just did over this weekend, just kind of as a way to practice a little bit.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. And we have people, who, you know, might experiment with new ideas during the months, who might be also looking for collaborations. We have people who are finding business partners or testing out new ideas. But also, you can suggest fun activities. It doesn't have to be serious professional ones. So I know, for example, you with a few others are leading improv nights.
That's a good time.
And that's something we're really grateful for, because Alex and I don't necessarily have the expertise in improv, but we're super happy when anyone steps up and wants to. We have someone who leads a creative writing class at most of our destinations. A lot of things like that. Karaoke.
Cool. Yeah, it's cool to try new activities. You know, I started improv kind of in the Nomad community as like a low stakes thing, but it was very, you know, it can be kind of nerve wracking a little bit, but just an example of something, a new activity that you get to kind of try a little bit, which is really fun.
And and then also, like, aside from that, there's also really room for, you know, anyone can say, oh, tonight I'm going there for dinner. And, you know, we have a WhatsApp chat, and whoever wants to join is welcome to. So we also end up doing a lot of impromptu meetups. Finding cool places like serendipitously, and
especially here in Chiang Mai where there's so much going on. It can actually be kind of overwhelming, I think, for your first time. It's really nice to have a curated experience with, you know, you can kind of think outside the box or hang out with, you know, another Wonderlander who's starting their own little event. But lots of options.
Yeah, I think, someone told me, you're giving us the best of Chiang Mai. That's a good way to put it, I guess.
That's true. I mean, I've been coming here for years, and there's still stuff that we saw that I have not been to.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah. That's pretty true. Do you have any like stories or anything of a Wonderlander that has, you know, kind of come into Wonderlands and then something happened and they kind of exited being in a completely different state than when they came?
Yeah, we've had a few interesting transformations, like really cool to witness. So in lots of different areas of life, we've had some couples that have formed at the Wonderlands. We've had a couple of relationships that have started that are still ongoing.
Makes sense.
Some very strong friendships as well. But on the professional side as well, I have one example. So actually, in our first event in Cambodia, we ended up organizing very last minute and randomly. We started a partnership with a new co-working space there, and we decided to organize an unconference, which we opened to not just to our group, to our Wonderland group, but we also advertised it publicly, and we had a few more people joining us. And then one of our participants met another Nomad there, and they ended up launching a course together a few months later. So they started kind of a business together. We also had another girl at the same event who was a bit stuck. She wanted to launch a course, but she was really procrastinating on it. She didn't know how to, go about it. And then she brought this up at the mastermind, and she got good feedback, and she then did it. And it's successful now. And so she also started a new business basically from that.
Wow.
these are some pretty cool stories. And then also maybe a personal transformation, because what I've seen is that it's also inspired sometimes some people to make more like lifestyle changes. So again, at the Cambodia event, we had a girl who joined us from the Philippines. And she was in a bit of a complicated situation at the time. She had recently lost her husband, actually. So, she was going through a bit of a transition phase and grieving. And she didn't really know what she wanted to do next. And I caught up with her just about a year later, so a few days ago. And she's completely transformed, and she's living her best life now. She realized she wanted to become a nomad. She has now moved to Da Nang in Vietnam. She has a new partner. She started a new business as well. It's a complete transformation.
Wow. That's so cool.
It's really been a trigger for her to,
I was just talking to, we have a few Americans that joined us this time as a bit of like a sabbatical.
Yeah.
So they're not traditional nomads, but they've kind of come in to just kind of, get this experience. And I know part of the reason that you set this up is that we kind of get past the small talk.
Yeah.
Where'd you come from? Where are you going? What do you do? To kind of going a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk a little bit more about how you facilitate that?
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I mean, I'm glad you picked up on that, because one of the kind of keywords I had in mind when I started Nomads in Wonderlands was depth. And depth in different ways. And one way was connections, the deeper connections, deeper talks. And also deeper discovery of a destination, like exploration of a destination.
Deeper fun, too.
Yeah, deeper fun. Okay, let's add that too. Yeah. So going beyond the surface in every aspect of the experience. There's a few ways we do that. It starts, I think, very early on in the experience, where we get people to introduce themselves. We have a bit of a fun way you've experienced it. We have our little Wonderlands way to get people to introduce themselves. And in a way that we try to make it memorable, so that people will at least remember a few fun facts about each person, and this will serve as starting, talking points to get to know them better afterwards. Throughout the event, one of my favorite activities is that we have a real talk circle every week, which we used to call the small talk, but we renamed it.
You reframed it in a more positive way.
So the real talk is, so we used also to call it deep connection, but I know there are other events where deep connection is a bit more based on like physical connection, or, staring at each other. But in our events, it's much more centered around talking and sharing, opening up basically, and answering some more deeper questions and getting a bit vulnerable if you want to. We never force anyone to, go further than they want to. So that's one thing. We also have the masterminds, I think, for those who attend, can be really useful, but also a great way to get to know people, what they're working on, what they're currently thinking, what they're struggling with, and to build those sometimes partnerships or collaborations. People will find ways that they can help each other.
Yeah.
These are just some of the ways, but then also I think just the way, most of our activities are kind of an excuse for us to spend time together and to have a good time. So there's the activities that are really focused on facilitating conversation, but then it just naturally happens around, our day trips. People just start having fun together, and then
it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the time to really go deep. And my advice would be like lean in a little bit and try these things, because I've kind of gone to an unconference and I've participated in a talk where I was like, we'll see how this goes. And I'm like, oh, that actually really did really kind of stimulate my brain a little bit, make me think about something a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And I did grow a little bit from that. So I do think, there's a lot to be said for this kind of...
Yeah, as much as we don't, as I said, we never force anyone to do anything they don't want to, but we also encourage people to go out of their comfort zone a little bit and, use the months to explore new things, get to know new people. And we also build the experience in an inclusive group in the sense that we want people to feel included.
Yep.
So it's unavoidable, of course, and that's perfectly fine that people will naturally bond more with others and certain people, and will find people they're better friends with, but we still try to make it so that we have a group dynamic and not just smaller groups.
Right.
And
It's like back to the family dynamic. Like in a family, you always have your favorite cousin, etc. And so that's kind of what it feels like. And we also see little rituals being formed, right? I mean, what are some of your favorite?
Well, we have our family dinner every
Very important.
So at every destination it's on a different evening, but we meet once a week for the family dinner, and we encourage as many people as possible to show up for that, because it's our one time to hang out together. And what we always do there is that we ask for feedback. Everyone has a chance to say what they've enjoyed the previous week or so far in the event, what they want to do next, and to come up with some of those suggestions that we discussed, where they can bring up an idea and that we could include in the program.
I mean, this is where this Nomad event gets crafted a little bit, because this is a chance to be like, well, I really like this, and like maybe this event is like nobody showed up to us, so should we just scrap that? It's like kind of the glue of the whole thing. I think.
We do a show of hands who is interested in doing this or that, and
So I remember I missed my first family dinner. I was like, oh, it's dinner, whatever, And then I came the next week, and I was like, this is the best. I'm drinking wine, we're laughing, we had the best night. So highly recommend family dinner.
So the family dinner is a big one. Then we have a brunch club that kind of started at one of our events, and then the same participant who decided to organize it has been coming back. So she's now in charge of the brunch club when she's with us. And the real talk, as I said. The mastermind, we basically always try to open the event with a mastermind, because it's a really great way to kick off the month by... because it can bring a lot of inspiration. So we like to use it as a kickoff.
Yeah. And I have my own little ritual, which one of my favorite things is usually on Sunday, when like the dust has settled from everything, I go on the app and then I kind of fill out my week. And then with the app, you can add the events to your calendar.
Very good, Jim.
And so, so it's good. You can.
We need everyone to do that.
It also helps you guys out, because then you know what to expect, how many people are coming up, which is very crucial for all the work you guys put into to organizing everything. Which is really cool. And we have a great time here. It's an awesome month. We meet super cool people. How do we kind of like, tie it all together, or like how do people stay in touch generally, or how's that work?
So we do have a WhatsApp group. So we have our community chats during the event, but we also have our wider community WhatsApp group that is called the Wonderlands family group. So we keep talking about family, but so we keep that going outside of the events as well, and we post updates. And once in a while, we also start a bit of a thread where everyone like shows what they're up to, what they are, and
that's always nice.
Giving each other FOMO from everyone traveling
from our other location and where we are.
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah. That's super nice. And speaking of like being in different places, how do you think about picking destinations for Wonderlands?
So that's evolved a bit over time. When I first started, I was mostly looking for more adventurous, off the beaten path destinations, which I still really, I'm excited by, and I still want to fit into our program. But it's evolved a bit, because I think, I did a podcast about a year ago, and I think on that podcast I said there are 3 destinations where I will never do a Wonderland.
That is right.
And that was Bali, Chiang Mai, and Bansko, and 2 out of 3 we have done. So famous last words. But
Bali, here we come.
Yeah.
Bali 2026? Is that
I'm not sure about Bali. Let's try not to do 3 out of 3.
traffic issues, Mike?
No, but what we found is that we also listen to, what our participants want, what our audience wants. And yeah, we also realized that it's good to have a mix of destinations. So we have the slightly more obscure, I mean, that's a big word, but the slightly less mainstream ones. But we
Off the
also,
beaten path.
yeah, off the beaten path. But then we also had people who, we had a lot of people who we knew were going to Chiang Mai and were asking us if we can do one there. So, and another factor is that it's a lot more interesting, or we can bring a lot more to the experience when we are familiar with the destination. So, it can be based on places that we know well. I mean, Chiang Mai, I've been coming here for, I think, pretty much over 10 years, almost every year. So I know it very well, and I know all the little secrets, the hidden gems. So I'm excited also to share that knowledge with everyone.
I've never been here, by the way.
Yeah.
So you shared this with me.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, we should do this interview here. And I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
A
I love
oasis.
this place. Yeah.
Lots of birds.
Yeah.
Too, which
we love.
Yeah, we love.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah, but in general, so there's the destinations that are a bit more the nomad hotspots, but where we can still give something extra with this experience because we really know them well, and we can kind of give you the best of the concentrate of like the best experiences you can have in 1 month, and plan things for you and bring this really great community that I think we've really fostered with Nomads in Wonderland so far.
Yeah.
And then there's the slightly more adventurous destinations. Then now we have one in mind for the future that might surprise everyone.
Right. Wow.
But these are also interesting in a different way because they're places where there might not be much of a nomad community yet, not much infrastructure, and these are places that are a bit harder to go to as a remote worker because you might be interested to check it out, but you're worried you'll be lonely, or that you won't have even good internet or a good place to work from.
Yeah.
So that's what we try to provide in those destinations.
Yeah, let's say Nomads and Wonderlands is the perfect place to come if you have not been to that destination yet.
Yeah.
It's the perfect way to just dive in and have events set up for you, new experiences, and see all the cool stuff. Just cool. Speaking of Wonderlands, you chose to call it Nomads and Wonderlands on purpose. Why is that?
It's very important. Well, actually, a little bit of history. I used to be a travel blogger when I started traveling, And my blog's name was Camille in Wonderland. And then I became an Instagram influencer. I don't really like that word, but content creator, let's say. And I was Cam Wonderland. So, it comes from that. Then it was a no-brainer. When I started this, it had to be Nomads in Wonderland.
Of course.
But the reason I've always spelt it with an S at the end of Wonderlands, which might seem counterintuitive, is that there are lots of Wonderlands. There's not just one. And basically, every country we go to is a different Wonderland, and every destination is a new Wonderland.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with this group. I think we could maybe wrap it up there. We've talked about a lot of stuff here, and where can people go if they want to learn more about Nomads and Wonderlands?
The obvious place is go check out our website. It's nomadsinwonderlands.com with the S's.
Yes.
Don't forget the S's. And if you go there, you will see you can sign up also to our newsletter. And when you do, you will receive also a little welcome discount, so a little offer. So I encourage you to sign up. And also, if you want to get an idea of what our events look like, the vibe, you can also follow our Instagram at Nomads in Wonderland, same.
If you want massive FOMO, just subscribe.
It is very heavily focused on giving FOMO. Yeah. But you will get a glimpse into our events and the fun we're having, and how great the people who are joining us are.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we hope to see you there.
See you there.
Yeah.